Hi everybody, it's Claire back with another art journal video, and again this is one using some of Dina's latest release. So I decided I was going to grab lots of rainbow colours for this one and make some really bright tags. So if you follow me on Instagram and Facebook, you'll have already seen a reel giving you like a sneak peek at how I made these. That really is like this video in 60 seconds, which is really difficult to do. But basically it is that process, but just a little bit slower. So I've used some of Dina's size 8 tags. I grabbed lots of her collage tissue paper, and I'm just adding some collage tissue paper onto each of the tags that I'm going to create. I've got a whole heap of colours of Dina's paints off my shelf to put on the desk in front of me, and I am just kind of going to go for it with colours, just play with colours and stencils and creating lots of delicious layers. I'm using Dina's gel medium to stick the collage paper down, so obviously they all got a really good dry, and then I'm just going to start playing with adding some colours and layers and patterns onto these tags. So that looks like I've used iris, magenta and raspberry, and then I used the new floor tile stencil to lift some paint through the stencil. Then this one I'm pretty sure is ruby and tangerine, and then I'm going over the top again with the same floor tile stencil, but this time using white. So I'm just looking to get some colour and pattern onto these tags, and on some of them I am in fact leaving some white space. Shock horror. So this looked like I used lime, turquoise and ocean, or maybe peacock. And then this stencil is one of the new ones. I can't remember what it's called at the minute. And I used one of the colours through the stencil there as well. So this is how I kind of do this process. I'm just working on building up layers and layers of colour, keeping it bold and bright. So this is cheddar, mustard and lemon. Really pretty colours together. They work really nicely. And then the lattice stencil from an older release, one of my favourite stencils, that one, just to pop on with one of those colours to add some stenciling. This tag had, that was the blues again, the turquoise, peacock and sky, I think. And then that one looks like iris, magenta and raspberry. And I think I'm going in with peacock over the top. So I'm using a mixture of new stencils and old stencils, new colours, older colours, and just working on building up layers of interest. So here I'm starting to use some contrasting colours on top of the colours that are there to start off with, just to make some of the tags really, really pop. And on some of them I'm keeping them more analogous and keeping those colours in the same sort of colour field, just to keep them a little bit calmer. And then sometimes I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to use up some of the paint that's left on my palette paper because I've got loads left over, and I don't want to kind of waste that. So this is iris going over the top of that lime and those blues. It creates a really nice contrast. This is the pointed stencil, I'm pretty sure, and using iris through that. So there they are. That's the stage I've got them to so far. And then I started adding some pieces of transparency. So some of these were from Dina's previous release in January, just going in and just kind of popping things on the tags, not sticking them in place, but just leaving them on there. And then I've stamped out some of the new stamps. So this is that I'm using now is from the Grid It stamp set, and then also the Little Is stamped out some of those faces too onto printer paper. And all I'm doing here is just kind of auditioning things and seeing where I want to put them and how they're going to work, and just playing around with those layers. And if things don't seem to stand out too well, then I'm going in and adding a calmer area where I can then pop those pieces just so that they do work on the busy backgrounds. Here I'm just extending those lines out from that face just to make it feel like it belongs on my tag. Another great tip that Dina gave recently about using these sort of stamps is to like cut them into a tight square, and that it really does work. Gosh, she's so clever. And here I'm using some of the pocket circle stamps, and I've cut one of them in half, so I've got like a half at the top and a half at the bottom. And of course I'm using my dotty stamp on lots of the tags as well, and I've edged them all using black archival ink, just to kind of finish them off nicely. And I'm adding quotes onto them using the collage, typed ledger papers. As I always say, there's a quote for every occasion on those. They're just so versatile. So I've used the branches mask on this tag as well. I love it. I love it. I love it that it's a bit bigger than the previous one that Dina brought out. So that is a great release this time. I'm loving that one. So yeah, I'm just kind of swapping and changing between all the various tags that I've got, and I'm adding a little bit of contrast using some white Posca, bit of black stamping, and then kind of thinking, okay, so I need a quote on there, so I'm popping a quote on. And some of them I'm keeping as simple as that, an image, some bits of contrast, and then a quote, and that's it, finished. But this was lots of fun pulling these together, using all these different things from the brand new release and also from previous releases too, and creating this really colourful collection of tags. So here I'm using 3 of the pocket circles and just popping those onto the tag as well. As we know, those odd numbers work really well. And then adding a quote down the side too. So kind of keeping them relatively simple. So on this tag, I've used one of the grids on an angle, and then I've cut like a mask out from a piece of paper. You'll see here, so that I can stamp just into the squares, and just get that stamp tight in that square shape that's on my tag. Honestly, I can't talk today. And then here, again, going in with my white Posca pen, and just adding some contrast, adding some pattern and marks into those other squares. This tag has inspired an idea for a journal page, which I'm going to have a play with this afternoon, and then sticking a quote on there as well. And that one was, I've given them some little pink cheeks too. That was finished. So then I also added some recycled sari ribbon through the top of the tags, deliberately choosing really bright, bold colours that would work with the colours that were on each of the tags too. So this was lots of fun to make, using Dina's new release and marrying it with lots of the old products too. Thanks for watching. I hope you found some inspiration, and I hope to see you again soon.